So I am a little nervous for the outcome of the main event of Paris. Now, I'm not saying Renato is a threat to Benoit Saint-Denis, but he's definitely a threat to Benoit Saint-Denis if Benoit doesn't respect what Renato can do. Because Renato can weather storms. He can get hit with good shots and come back. I'm just saying the guy's very durable. But we'll never know until that kind of closes up. You know, we got to see the fight the way it happens, but I see it going one of two ways. Benoit takes a second L in a row, or he has a bounce back, and he's ready to fight more, because he did have an aura about him, especially after that Matt Frivola KO, which, didn't really have much grace. It was just basically muscling through and KOing Matt in one of the most vicious ways I think I've ever seen. Getting the rankings, going up against Dustin Poirier, who is probably mountains above Renato, if I'm being honest, tossing him around. And we're talking probably past his prime Dustin Poirier right now, because I think Dustin Poirier is definitely in that realm of, he's starting to wrap it up and think about fighting one more time and getting out of there because he knows what's coming, which is smart. But even then, fighting Dustin Poirier and tossing him around a little bit like that was impressive up until he got clipped. And then we started to see that Benoit Saint-Denis is human. He's a very dangerous human, but he's human nonetheless. If you catch him with something, he's going to go down, So I think that aura of invincibility that he once had is like, that's what it is. And we got to see if he could gain that back, just basically if he's going to change his game plans or not. Does he need to? A lot of that's going to go into this fight because, he's definitely going down in competition, but is he going to sleep on Renato? And if he sleeps on Renato, I honestly do think that Renato might surprise him and he might give something up for Renato, and Renato's going to capitalize on it. Now, I think that's a very slim chance. Benoit Saint-Denis is still my favorite in this fight, but we've seen this before with fighters before who go on these tears. Alexander Hernandez versus Cowboy Cerrone, that kid was on a tear until he got stopped by Cowboy, and then ever since then he was kind of win some, lose some. I think that he was a little cockier than Benoit Saint-Denis, though, but we have seen this story before, and that's why I think I'm basically just going to throw it out there. Benoit needs this win for his career. Like, just after you take that first humbling loss, it's going to show how someone like that can bounce back from a loss, despite whether you want to make excuse and say, I was winning that fight until I wasn't, or anything like that. And he doesn't really kind of, obviously he was winning that fight. He takes it for what it was, and I think that he's a humble enough guy to where he says, okay, I'm good at firing on all cylinders, but I got to learn how to fire on all cylinders without leaving openings and without completely just blowing out in the second round. So maybe this has been a very cardio-heavy camp for him, or the time he spent off, he's really been working on his conditioning. Because you know what? If he does that, I really do think that he can steamroll Renato and maybe even finish him, maybe in the first or second. But if he didn't work on the right things, I think he might be up for another slice of humble pie. The only reason I'm saying that he might be is because I don't want to see him eat that humble pie a second time. Because, it does take one loss to get a guy to completely square up his game, or it could take that one loss to where he gets in that octagon and starts second-guessing himself in that self-assurance that got him super far down the rabbit hole is now stagnating him because he knows he's invincible. He's afraid to throw things because he's afraid of getting caught. And that's the thing. Analysis paralysis, especially with guys like this, is really big. And that would be the big, also it's crazy because you look at how he could lose to Renato, sleeping on him in that, or taking him way too seriously. So he needs to get back in that headspace where he's like, okay, I could get caught, but as long as I get better, I'm safe. And if he does that, I think he's going to get out on top of that. But if he does lose to Renato, which I'm hoping, I think that's an underdog scenario, I think that it might start to signal the beginning of the end for Benoit Saint-Denis. I hate to be doom and gloom. I don't like to make videos based on just hating on fighters or anything. It's just We've seen this all before, so he needs this win. So when I watch this main event, I am going to be biting my nails because I am in Benoit's corner, and I just understand the psychological aspects of what could happen, especially in fights like this where guys who got stopped want to come back. But we're going to see. But I think my actual pick, though, is probably going to be Benoit because I don't think that might be an issue for him. He seems like he's a disciplined enough guy. Very self-aware, very humble. I'm liking the interviews I'm seeing from him so far. Nothing about it kind of screams delusion, in my opinion. So I think he might actually be all right. But this is the fight game. Anything could happen.